Hey, you ready to go outside? Yes, come on. Hey, y'all grab those bottles.
Mercy.
You're gonna have to do, hey, did you hear what he said, Toby? He's saying he wants you to feed Pearl because you have the most patience. Good morning, goaties. Hey, Anna girl. Hey, Anna.
Toby. She's fine. Don't drink fast.
I drink real fast. Toby came and fed Pearl separately. She's so little, she has to be away from the other goats or they'll knock her bottle out of her mouth. I was looking for Ruth and her baby so I could show you guys. Here's Ruth's little baby boy. He's still very young, so he spends a lot of time cuddled up in the stall, even though we've allowed them out. He'll start wandering around the yard here before too long.
Yeah, he's just outside.
Isn't he so pretty?
Yeah.
I want to show everybody him. He's massive.
Oh yeah, huge.
Hey, little cutie. Look how much bigger he is than Pearl.
Oh.
Like, look at that.
Pearl's still kind of big.
Yeah. She's like 2.5 weeks old, and he's a few days old, and he's probably weighs twice as much as her.
I haven't petted him yet.
He's so cute. He is huge. Did you pick him up?
No, I've never picked him up.
You can pick him up.
I don't want to pick him up because...
Well, she's not. She's waiting on food. She's not going to mess with you.
It's okay, buddy. Oh, you're heavy! That's a newborn.
Oh, he's so cute. This goat is massive. Look at him.
Oh.
Oh, is he gonna snuggle your face? Oh. Sweet Maya is saving the day by doing my milking chores this morning for me.
How nice is that?
It is nice.
Is that like Rover? We have to burn Dave's horns off. They're coming in.
We already took Dave's horns off. Those are called skurs. They're just growing in aside from already being disbudded.
Oh, can I?
So Toby and Ben's daddies help mommies whenever mommies are hurt or not feeling well, and they do their chores for them. And it's sweet. Sometimes it's sweet to help people with their work.
And then it makes the mommies feel really attracted to the dad. Take it inside.
So I woke up this morning with a horrible, horrible catch in my shoulder. Like, so bad. Are you taking that milk inside?
Can you bring it inside?
No, I need you to do it.
Well,
Carry it in. I've got my... Hey, listen, I believe in you.
Back and forth.
I know, it's really annoying, but we can handle it.
Uh-oh, Mac's escaping.
Mac, the Kraken can't get out
He's
too
like-
hard.
Too fast.
The Kraken. Is that what he is, the Kraken?
Yeah.
Are y'all going to feed? Cool. So I am going to go brush Bear out.
Yeah, do
Because
that.
he's grossing me out. I'm going to do it in the
He's
garden.
gross in this hall.
Okay. Come on, sir. Come here. Come here. So I woke up this morning with like a horrific catch in my shoulder. And you can probably smell the essential oils from where you are. So Sweet Maya helped me out this morning by covering my farm chores so that I wouldn't have to make this worse. And I'm gonna brush my dog. Okay, so this might seem like a weird thing to make a video about, I realize that. But I started to do this the other day and I thought, no, I'm gonna share this because somebody can probably benefit from this. Now, I have what I believe to be the best dog in the world, but he is part German Setter and he has a double coat. And this time of year, he unfortunately loses like half of his body mass in shedding hair, shedding his winter coat. And it just so happens that though I live in a house with 5 boys and it is by no means a showroom house, it is not perfectly clean. The one thing that really bothers me is for my house to have a lot of animal hair in it. So it's something that I've always been really particular about. And I got a Furminator brush. I am in no means affiliated with these people, but this is such a game changer that I have to tell you about it. I got this years ago with my first German Shepherd. I got a brush. This is actually a newer one. I will always have one of these with having a breed of dog that is double coated, but this is literally the single biggest thing that keeps my house from being covered in dog hair. But the gardening tip to this is that I always brush my dog out in the garden. And I don't know if it makes that big of a difference. I've just always done it. And I don't capture his hair. Now, you obviously probably couldn't do this if you lived in town and you want dog hair flowing everywhere, but we live out in the country, so I can really kind of do what I want when it comes to stuff like this. And I just let it go. And what happens is all the birds come and they take all of the hair and they line all their nests with it. And it just kind of flows about. And I've heard many times that people will say, if you give yourself a haircut, if you give anybody in your family a haircut, or if you give your dogs a haircut, to take the hair and sprinkle it around the garden as a deterrent to deer. And I don't know, but we live with 1,000 acres of forest around us. Like, there are deer. We see deer all the time. They come up to the woods around our garden, around our house. They go in the road. I mean, there are deer here all the time. But I've only ever had a deer in my garden one time, and it was before I started doing this. So I don't know if that attributes to it. It might just be that this is close to the house and there's a lot of animals around, but I just don't think it could hurt. And I gotta brush them somewhere. Bear, come here. Brush time, come on. So I started this the other day and probably brushed off like a Walmart bag worth of hair. And like, look at this, it's so gross. I don't know, just over the next month. It's really right when the weather starts to turn and its hair starts falling out. And I do this probably like twice a week. And it gets to be less and less. And then one day in a few weeks, I'll look at him and I'll think, oh my God, I think Bear's dying, he's so skinny. And then I'll be like, oh no, he's finally just done with blowing his winter coat. Good boy, good boy. Feels so much better. We've been brushing for like 15 minutes and he's over it, so we're gonna stop. I could brush more off of him, but when he starts getting to where he obviously doesn't want to, then we'll just pick it back up tomorrow. Hey, I'm gonna show you all this. I know it's gross, it looks really bad right now, but by this evening on a windy spring day like this hair will blow off. It'll end up caught kind of underneath the fences, kind of under the edges of the garden beds. And like I said, birds come and take a lot of it, and they like line their nests with it. But here is all the bear hair. It's already started to blow around. Looks like a, you know, small animal might have gotten killed out here, but it wasn't. So, weird garden tips. Brush your dog in the garden with a tool that removes their undercoat. It's called a furminator, is what that brush is called. And yeah. I've never shared that before. I don't think I've never made a video of that, but I've done it for the last few years. All right. I just want to lay eyes out here because it got a little chilly last night. Oh, it's fine. All right, so yesterday I transplanted some seedlings out here that was doing a little bit of an experiment, and now I'm coming to see them for the first time since I did it yesterday. So the experiment was that I took these little determinate tomatoes and separated out the seedlings, which were planted densely here, and instead of up potting them, I just moved the seedlings directly out here, and I planted them each kind of deep. Some of them have not quite bounced back yet, like that looks pretty puny, but like this one looks okay. So we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and water them. A few of them look really good. That looks real good. Some of them, maybe not so much. All right, so these little seedlings are planted so shallow because they were so small. I mean, they go down a few inches, but I'm not gonna try to do any sort of bottom watering. I'm just gonna get this top layer of soil good and wet to make sure that they don't dry up. Last night was, I believe, the last cold night we're really gonna have. We could get another cold spell, but it would be after our forecasted last frost date if it does happen. You know, I share with you guys sometimes about the fact that I'm kind of negligent in my garden. And I don't say that like that I'm proud of being negligent. When I see people who are like really together and they like seem to really remember things a lot and they like stay on top of things and don't kill them, like I always think, like I admire that. Like I admire people who are really like organized in their thought processes and seem to have a more like streamlined way of living. I've never been that way. Like I've always been kind of scattered. I'm doing a lot of things. Like I think sometimes like if I just had a smaller garden, I just had less going on, I could probably manage it like more excellently. And then when I'm being honest about that, I think I would probably get really bored if I was doing a lot less. Like, so it is something, I guess maybe like fuels me in having a lot to do. And I just have learned to live with the fact that sometimes things fall through the cracks. But I will tell you, there is something very freeing in embracing like the inevitability of some failures, because it gives you the opportunity to take risks in things and just learn to fail forward. And, you know, sometimes I'll do things like with these little seedlings, like moving them out here, and I'll know very well, like, this might not work great. And I went into depth about that in the last vlog. But let me tell you, the reason why I share so openly with you guys about failures and about forgetting things and about accidentally killing things or trying things that didn't work is that I feel so invigorated by the freedom to try things and know that the worst that's going to happen is fail, to start a lot of stuff knowing that there might be some margin for loss, and to, you know, to do a lot of things and learn and experiment, because for me, that has been the key in keeping this interesting. Like, yeah, I'm going to try this new thing. I might hate it, but, you know, that's the worst that can happen. I wasted the space. And I don't know, like, I feel a ton of freedom in knowing that there's absolutely no obligation to have success in everything, and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with something screwing up, something failing. And now I feel very confident as a good gardener, even though I screw stuff up still regularly, because I mean, so much of it does well. And I've really learned, like, hey, this process is kind of like designed to work whether we really take part or not. We really just have to like partner with a process that works. It's not really about us being good or bad. It's about us understanding what it needs and providing it. And then sometimes you take a little wiggle room. You see if something works. Sometimes you forget. Doesn't matter. You can still be good at it. Y'all, look at this calendula after putting all of those soil amendments in. This thing literally just greened up. It had gotten a little damaged by that really cold snap that we had it's been a month and a half ago now, but it completely greened up and now is completely covered in blossoms. This is one calendula plant. Isn't that so cool what giving plants nutrients can do? A lot of fresh green growth on this oregano too, for the same reason. And I really hope all the little tomato seedlings perk back up. It's only been a day. Some of them are still kind of puny and flat looking, but the ones that are standing up are giving me hope that the rest of them will do that as well. So I'm currently just wetting down the soil. There's nothing planted over here yet, but all these amendments that we put in, I'm just trying to make sure that we keep the soil good and wet. I'm going to be doing a lot of hand watering out here and just making sure that we keep the soil hydrated, because we are trying to recover where some of the soil had gotten hydrophobic while being on drip irrigation in the high tunnel, which of course doesn't receive any rainwater. My favorite thing about hand watering has always been that it sort of like gives me time to think. It's definitely one of those jobs that keeps your hands busy and your mind unoccupied. So like I was talking about the freedom of understanding that it's okay to fail, I think the reason why I'm so adamant about getting that message through to those of you who watch my channel and are gardeners that have been doing this for a really long time or who are new in gardening. I think that we have allowed, just in the last, I don't know what, 100 years or so, humanity has allowed the garden to become something way more complicated than it should be. Like the idea that we should just leave food growing to the professionals. That bothers me. It bothers me so much. And like one of the things that I really want to like convey to my viewers, whether you've been gardening for a little while or a long while, is like, I think there's so much to be redeemed here. I think that there's so much to be discovered. It's so gratifying to me to talk to people who are gardening and they say, oh, for so long I was scared to try. For so long I was scared to experiment. For so long I talked myself out of doing anything, or I tried and failed and I thought I was bad, and I'm getting brave again to just experiment. And gosh, what could we recover? Like, what could be brought back to our culture and our family life and our kitchen table if people stopped leaving their food growing to the professionals? Like, what if people really realized how gardening is just such a natural process and all we have to do is partner with it? And it doesn't have to be such a, it's not pass or fail. It doesn't have to be so hard. But I feel like anybody who has ever really taken a stab at growing a garden has probably been faced with opinions or methods or failures or some sort of situation that arose that made them think like, oh, maybe this isn't worth it, or maybe this is too much work for the yield, or maybe I'm not good at this, or maybe I just don't understand, or whatever it is that you know, that comes in our mind in those situations. But I get to talk to so many people. I hear from so many gardeners. I get far more messages and pictures and things that I could even possibly respond to. I mean, I'm telling you guys, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gardeners will reach out every week and send photos and messages and show the success that they've had. And they'll say, I thought I couldn't do this, but all I did was try, and look at what happened. That makes me crazy brave in telling people, just try. So I didn't really plan on talking about that really, or getting to this point in this conversation whenever I came back to check on my seedlings. But the thing that I want to say to each and every one of you gardeners is that I am so tremendously proud of you. Whenever you just try, whenever you tell me how you tried and you failed, or you tried and you succeeded, or you tried and it led to something else, I am so proud of you. Because when I talked about, you know, what we've lost in our culture in the last 100 years is that 100 years ago, people had gardens. They had kitchen gardens in their backyard. People didn't buy food that was shipped from all over. I mean, that's a pretty relatively new thing. And, you know, 100 years ago, my great-grandparents were not trying to double check and see if there was some expert out there to tell them that what they wanted to do would work. What they would have to do if they had an idea and they wanted to see if it would work is they would just try. And I love seeing that restored to people. I love seeing people realize, like, hey, it's amazing that we have such a world of information at our fingertips, but it is also amazing that we have the ability to just try things. Hey, silly dog. Here you go. Well, after that little impromptu pep talk, I think this is where we'll part ways for today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I bless you. Until next time.